Scene.
Action.
Hey guys, welcome to Podcast Essential, podcast episode 5. Well, technically it's 4, but we're going to go with 5, even though our last podcast got removed from YouTube,
Big up
which
YouTube.
is not
YouTube.
fun. But what can we do with that? Today, we actually have some inside information and some inside knowledge from what's going on over the pond, shall we say?
Oh my god.
This is my girlfriend, Amie.
Hi.
And obviously we have got the magnificent Ed with us as well.
I can already see the comments going. It's going to be like, Limit's third wheeling.
Nah, Limit is the dad.
Straight up.
Maybe I'm third wheeling. That's probably what's happening.
Yeah, I think you are third wheeling more than Ed, to be honest.
Pretty much. I think
Or am I third wheeling? That's the question.
No.
I am the glue that makes this relationship stick.
Sure.
Okay.
Why are you looking at me like that? I didn't like that. I didn't like that look.
Bully.
Pretty much what we sort of wanted to get from this was just to sort of compare how Amie grew up in America, comparing the sort of the education and how she went through school compared to how we did over here and what the difference is like. I mean, I personally I've spoke to Amie a lot about this off camera, but it's just nice to share it and obviously for Ed to ask a few questions about it. So we can start from there. So Ed, if you want to start it off.
Yeah, I'm just going to quickly drop something in the intro there, Harry, about the reason why we're not streaming. This isn't live.
Why is it? Because we're alcoholics?
Oh, yeah, pretty much. Pretty much. Basically, we're unable to stream this one live, so it's pre-recorded. So, yeah, because we're good YouTubers and we post on the right
Still want to
days,
get the content out there.
literally. So, yeah, we don't want to leave you with no podcast for a week, because, I mean, even though we've done that last week, but...
Yeah, we did that last week. Not on purpose, not on purpose.
Cut, next, edit it out. Right, okay. But yeah, pretty much.
Fun.
Yeah, so first I'm going to start with asking, what have you done through lockdown? Amie, spotlight is on you.
Not a lot, to be honest. Well, because obviously we're in the same boat. We just finished college, so no A-levels, and just kind of sitting around. I mean, I moved house like just over a week ago, so I'm in a new house, which is nice. That's fun. We're getting a cat next week, so I'm excited for that. Yeah.
I
lost my cat in lockdown.
I heard, yeah.
Yeah, don't know when that's coming home. I'm not gonna lie. We have high hopes.
Why is that so funny?
I don't know. Laughter always.
It's one of them things you laugh about because it's so like
sad.
and...
Yeah, she knows. She knows. Harry doesn't know the way. Amie knows the way.
I mean, I tend to try and look after my animals, but it's alright.
Alright, man.
Well,
technically, in a way, I was looking after it by sending it outside, but
we're making our
Didn't wanna
cat
come back,
an indoor cat for that reason.
Indoor cat.
So.
Yeah.
Fair enough.
But when you do take it outside, you have got some equipment for it, though, don't you?
My mom did get a harness for the cat. Yeah.
It's gonna be like dog walks, just cat walks.
Yeah,
instead.
exactly, and then feel the grass.
Yeah, literally. It's
It
gonna
works.
yeah, pretty much. Yeah. So yeah, I mean, I don't do A levels. I don't know if you know this, Amie, but I'm like BTEC. So
Okay.
basically, I don't have to revise. It's all just like coursework.
Yeah.
So I'm very similar in terms of like not really having anything to do because it stopped.
Yeah, exactly.
I don't know if you were like continuing to revise like during lockdown or not. No.
As soon as they canceled exams, I was like, bye. Like, see ya. Like, I'm done.
Yeah,
I'm not revising for this.
It's different. It's different for me because I had to actually like continue until like quite recently actually when they told me that all the work that I'd done in my like trimester 3 because it's split into 3 different like times. Until they told me that trimester 3 is no longer going ahead and I've got no work to do. So
It's really quite odd because all 3 of us have all got completely different situations when it comes to how the lockdown affected us. Like obviously Amie's doing A levels, you're doing a BTEC, which is all based around coursework. Amie's all about exams, and I've got a job, so it's really sort of 3 completely different aspects when it comes to how the the lockdown's affected, which is all quite interesting, to be honest.
I swear it hasn't really impacted you very much, how you, apart from like the overtime.
No, yeah, it hasn't really affected me. It's
Like, you
just
still go to work or whatever.
yeah,
Or, like, working from home or...
pretty much. I'm still working 9 to 5 all the time, so it's not really affected
We
me.
ever jealous of like us that we get to be at home?
Very much,
Yeah,
yeah. Especially when I see like my mates or something like that going out or like drinking on a weeknight, and I'm just like, yeah.
Or even like us getting paid, because like I'm getting furloughed, and like
so am I,
you're still working, and
yeah,
so I
but
understand.
You're
you ain't getting
Not as much, but
true. Yeah, I mean, yeah, but to be fair, in some ways, it is nice to be able to do something, because I'm sure there are some days where you're just bored out your mind.
yeah.
You got nothing to do, so. But yeah, I get to see people in work as well, so it's that interaction. So literally, after all this is over, it wouldn't have felt much different for me personally to be affected. So
I probably didn't experience it the same way as us all like being in our houses and stuff.
It's weird. I mean, speaking of sort of going back to the America-England split, America in regards to the lockdown feel like they're not doing anything really at all, because obviously sort of one of your best mates, one of my sort of mutual friends, we can see on their sort of Snapchat story that they're still going out with mates, driving in their cars, getting Starbucks, getting food, going out to restaurants.
It's so different. But it's like, I feel like the way, I don't think they could have coped the same way we've done. Like, they couldn't just shut McDonald's and the fast food places over in America, because like that's, it is just what they live off, and some people, and it's not as easy to just close them, whereas we could survive without that. But them, like, that's just some people, like, like fast food and stuff. And I just think they've taken it differently. And I mean, even in Florida, like, the cases are so high. They've opened like beaches up, so many places, and it's just see. And I'm like, I'll see stories and stuff of friends with like other friends. I'm like, and I'm sat here like not even allowed to like hang out with my friends and stuff. And I'm like, how does that make sense? And they have way more cases, but then again, it's just the difference in country as well and how they react to it.
It's kind of it's kind of similar here, to be fair. I mean, quite a few people are still like going out in other people's cars and that sort of stuff. But I guess I think that's like towards the end of like lockdown now, really.
Yeah.
I'm gonna be honest, they're kind of easing it all. Like
it's at the start.
Yeah.
I mean, you say they're easing it for the moment, but there comes to points where people just don't care.
Yeah, I've seen people like on stories in groups of like 10 or 20 like sat in the same room, and it's like,
But I mean, in all fairness, they initially said that 80% of us were going to get it, and nowhere near that amount got it in the UK anyway.
Not yet.
So it's like, well, yeah, I mean, but the cases have dropped down so much, like the cases coming in. Like I heard in New Zealand, especially anyway, there was 0 active coronavirus cases. So that's like obviously a big step for some countries. And I mean, depending on obviously all these protests that have gone on with people getting close, but again, it doesn't look like the police or Boris Johnson or the government have said anything in regards to them saying 2 meters or anything like that. I haven't heard anything about the social distancing within the protests, but it's just quite interesting.
If we get a second wave, like then we'll all realize it and we could go back into lockdown.
Yeah, and everyone's going to be like, "Oh crap, I should have stayed inside." And everyone's
like,
but
I feel like people won't care as much. They'll just be like, "Oh, whatever. Like I've already broken it. Who cares anymore?" And then it's just one thing after another.
I think sometimes it also comes down to like influence though, because quite a few people like probably went out in a large group, and then someone else saw that on their story and was like, "Oh, okay."
Yeah, they did it, so why can't I?
If they can do it, then why can't I do it? If you know what I mean? And then it just kind of rippled from there, and everyone's doing the same stuff now, pretty much.
100%. So sort of changing the subject a little bit, going back on to sort of the path of the podcast. Shall I put it? How was the change going from school in America to starting your A levels all of a sudden? Obviously, there was obviously we haven't really explained that, but if you want to explain your situation, sort of when you left America, when you came to here, and the change from that, so you can explain that. I mean, or not. I mean, if you want to freeze on us. Sorry.
No, I'm getting there. I'm getting there. And then, yeah, I grew up in America, in Florida. And then my parents decided to move back 2 years ago. And I will say, like, the school change was so different. Like, you can't even compare them. And I feel like people ask, like, oh, what's the equivalent of, like, GCSEs? And I feel like I can't even explain what that is because they're just so different. Like, I didn't know what A-levels were coming here. I was just told that I would be going to college. And college is also such a different thing in America as well. So I was just like, what? But then I kind of learned what it was. And I was like, okay, I can take more classes that, like, suit me better rather than taking a math class or a science class. So I can take things that I actually want to enjoy and, like, have a career in. And also less classes as well, like, 3 instead of usually having 7 a day. And yeah, it was difficult to get used to at first, but then I also kind of enjoyed it. Like, I definitely preferred doing this than continuing high school in America because, like I said, I was taking useless classes that weren't going to benefit me anyway, but you just have to take them. Whereas here, I could take something that would help me. And I love the freedom here as well. Like, I feel like it's such a good idea to have that little bit of freedom rather than the big change of jumping from high school to, like, a university. Whereas this, you get that little freedom and to go out and stuff. So yeah, it was different. And also, like, even little things in the school, like, I spoke to Harry about, I said, I found it kind of weird that you guys didn't have, like, a police officer at school. Like, that's such a normal thing. We have a school police officer. And then I come here and I'm like, oh, they don't have one. I'm like, I guess you guys don't need them as much. And yeah, it was just, like, little things like that I found interesting. And obviously I don't know, like, the full experience of an English high school and, like, GCSEs and stuff, but I can kind of see it from going to a school that also had the high school. And yeah, it just looks interesting. Like, even, like, the uniform and the way you guys got to pick what you wanted to do. I think that's really cool. Like, the GCSEs and stuff, that you guys got that choice and to choose something. Yeah, even if it's maybe not what you want to do for a career, but it's something you enjoyed, rather than being forced to take, like, curriculum classes that are just going to be useless anyways.
I think that's what GCSEs were, though, weren't they? They were kind of just like, take what you want, like, take what you think you enjoy.
What you can survive for the 2 years.
Take what you know you can do well in, and then A-levels was kind of like, right.
Yeah, get into your college.
Do this, yeah.
Yeah.
Use this now to then get into your uni, and then uni, you do what you want to do. Like, full-time, like, for, like, a
But you at least get
whatever.
that glimpse of, like, what you might want to do, and you're like, oh, let me try this out, and then you can choose in uni what next kind of thing.
Wait, so in America, you can't choose at all? Like, not even in, like, any years?
Well, you can choose there's a thing called electives, which are kind of like little things you could do. So before I moved, I went to an art school and I was a drama major, and I did, like, elective classes where I had, like, business, theater management, and then my acting class. But then I also still have to take anatomy, like science, geometry, US history. Like, you still have to take those, but you do get some electives that you can take as, like, your classes, or you can also take like a language and stuff, but you still have to take, like, the normal classes. So, like, even up till you end of high school, you have to take, like, chemistry and all that. So, like, I never took chemistry, and I know, like, you guys did, didn't you? Like, in high school.
We had to take.
You just had, like, a joint science thing.
Yeah, so I was in combined. But I guess this was still, like, everyone still had to, like, do science. But obviously, how you were in separate, weren't you? And then I was in combined. So the difference between that was I'd get 2 GCSEs and you'd get 3 GCSEs.
Mm-hmm. I'd get one in like, physics, chemistry, and biology. And you'd get just 2 GCSEs for them, all 3 combined.
Yeah. So I guess in a way that kind of split up the sciences, didn't it? Really.
Yeah. I mean, one thing I was gonna mention in regards to the sort of difference in the schools was when growing up in the UK, you feel like high school is one of the times that it's just so sort of like especially for England, it just feels so rough, and like you just get through it, and once you're through high school you feel like you can just take anything, like, as a joke sort of thing. And with America, all these films sort of depict it as sort of paradise and nice little easy times in high school, or as a bit of middle school romance kind of thing. You know what I mean? Like, whenever you see a movie, it's always, oh, it's just a bit of fine. It's nothing really bad with it, but then when you like, I know me and Amy spoke about it, there's like some weird stuff that goes on in American high schools that doesn't really get shown in
well, I guess that's
films,
like a movie, they're gonna highlight the best aspects of like high school and stuff.
Yeah.
I mean, I only had 2 years of an experience in high school, one year in actual like high school where I saw lots of stuff, and like bullying is real, and I know that's like everywhere as well. But like when people bring up the thing of like, oh, jocks and cheerleaders, like, yeah, that is a thing, probably not as like
prominent,
as in, like the movies and stuff, but there are cheerleaders, there are all the football players that walk around. We do have like pep rallies and football games and stuff, like that is a real thing. But obviously in movies it's so much like bigger and stuff, but it is just different, definitely.
I guess bullying is still like, well, I wouldn't say it's, obviously I don't know because I've never experienced it myself.
Thankfully.
But it's like, when obviously we were in high school, I wouldn't see so many people getting bullied as I thought I probably would think. And I mean, in college, bullying kind of goes out the window because everyone goes off on their own paths. It's like people do what they want to do. People are a lot more like accepting of like what people want to do. Whereas in like high school, it's kind of like, I don't know, I didn't see very much of it.
Well, I feel in high school it's not really bullying because I know as stupid as it sounds, but everyone literally insults everyone.
Yeah,
like
she takes the piss
like
out of everyone.
I could technically say I was bullied because I was continuously verbally insulted throughout high school, but it's not to say that I wouldn't give it back to people, you know what I mean? Like, but it would be that banter back and forth that would just sort of make you have a bit of more of a thick skin within high school. Like, I know it would have happened to Ed, like just like comments here and there, but then it doesn't really affect you once it's happened so many times and it's said so many times. It doesn't really feel like that bullying aspect. But I don't know how sort of prominent that sort of banter is when it comes to American high schools, or how sort of inclusive the groups are within the high school, like what they show in the films, how like all the people sit on each tables and like the jocks bully the nerds, and you know what I mean? Like, I don't know if that's really that prominent and that's stereotypical.
I wouldn't say there's as much like banter. Oh, I hate the way I say that. But like, but it's also not like in the movies, like, oh, the nerds shoved up against the lockers or anything. Like, you know, that's just stupid. But I'd say one thing I kind of notice is there's a lot more diversity, especially like in Florida and like the school I went to. Like, 100%. You know, you have different ethnic cultures and all that. And so I feel like that can definitely influence a lot of bullying or insults and stuff, and like fights as well. Like, I don't know how violent your fights got, but I'd seen some stuff happen in my school, like I've told you about. And even like I remember one guy played Russian roulette and literally shot himself, and that was like all over my school, and people like knew him and stuff, and that was like a thing. It was really odd that year. And I even got like bullied by a teacher, kind of like she was saying stuff about me being from England. I'm not going to get into it. It had to do with like Trump and all this, and my parents had to come in and stuff. It was just, she was weird. And yeah, it was just, I don't know, but I was also like really quiet and shy. I was definitely not out there. Like, I was just small. Like, I only had a few friends, like, and I just hated that like freshman year of high school. Like, it's not really fun for anybody, which is why I left that school anyways. But definitely those schools are rougher with everyone coming together.
I feel obviously no one was going to know, because obviously you've grown up through the American sort of education system, but I feel like just knowing who you are, like, and the personality you have, if you grew up through going to our school, like the same school as me and Ed, through high school, I feel like you would have been another one of them, just like a regular sort of kid. Like, you could have been in the same sort of friendship group as like sort of like maybe like Hannah Gunn and that, if you know what I mean. Ed, like, she has the same sort of personality as that sort of friendship group, like just a sort of laid back, chill, and everything like that. Like, no one individually got bullied for anything like that in high school. It wouldn't happen like that. Like, it's really sort of interesting to see how it comes from the other sort of side of things. And then going back to the thing you mentioned about the fights, it's not that I mean, I'd count yourself lucky that that you've come in college, because you don't really get to see many when you're in college.
We
but
had-
Yeah.
I'd like
I
to
mean,
say-
I've seen some over my shift at the food pod at lunch sometimes.
yeah, but going from
probably not as bad.
year 7 to pretty much year 12, year 13, the amount of different fights and
Yeah.
aggressive fights that you see, like shirts ripped off people, broken noses and stuff. So it is seen to be like aggressive, but I guess from when you're America and you see England is like quite a fancy place,
Yeah.
you don't
that's
sort of
a good
see that side of like the rougher schools.
point. Mhm.
I think in the UK it's kind of like in high school there was kind of a system. It was like year 7s don't pick chat shit about the older year. They're always classed as the people who are scared of the older year. The older year would then be like, right, if they ain't causing anything like unwanted with me, then I don't care about them. Right? And it went through that kind of system for ages. And then college, you can kind of be like, right, no one actually cares. So like, obviously sixth form and college is quite different, because sixth form you still have to see smaller people, but the younger people. Whereas college, you're all the same age, doesn't matter. So in college, I think the people that I've been in college for 2 years, well, 1.5, I guess, because of this lockdown. But I only saw probably about 2 fights. And it was fights that I think were only made by people who hadn't actually grown up, who hadn't actually like realised that no one actually cares. It's like I don't know if you feel the same, but if anyone started like, I don't know, like trying to start a fight with me, I wouldn't care. I'd probably end up laughing at them, or like, especially
in sixth form or college. Like obviously sixth form still has that hierarchy with people in high school that are still trying to show that they have loads of friends and show that they're better than everyone by trying to get in them fights or whatever. But when you're in college or sixth form, everyone sort of chill with each other. Yeah. And if they're not, people say that, but it's not like it's going to go into a fight, because there's just no point when it gets to that age, because everyone just wants to focus on what they're doing.
I mean, especially in college, like, I'm going to be completely honest here, like, I didn't make an effort to make loads of friends. Like, I didn't make any friends outside of, like, my class or, like, my business area.
Yeah.
And even then, I probably will only talk to about 2 or 3 of them outside of college. Whereas, like, because I'm like, why do I need to make, like, I prefer to focus on getting into uni and then make lifelong friends in uni. Because I'm in uni for 4 years. It's like I can easily make brand new friends, like, in uni over, like, college.
Yeah. How did you find it? This is for Amy, sorry. How did you find it sort of in a way losing some of your friends and then coming to the UK to college and then having to sort of regain that friendship group with people?
I'd say I was quite lucky where I didn't have like too close of a best friend. Like I only knew Gabe for like less than a year by the time I moved away, and because I got kind of moved some schools around, I didn't really have like a best friend anyway, so I wasn't really losing anyone. Like he's really the only person I talk to like frequently.
Yeah.
But like coming here, like I definitely was nervous to make friends. I knew I would eventually, like, you know, you find your little groups and stuff, and I was like, oh, what are they going to think of me and stuff? But I'm like, oh, my mom would be like, oh, they'll be interested in you because you've got this American accent. So I was like, I guess. And I guess I kind of used that as like a conversation starter. And then I met my little group, and I was thankful that I had a best friend that came in from South Africa at the same time. So me and her were like this. And I'm so thankful that I had her, though, because I think I would have been a lot more nervous like the first day. Especially like we went to Conway like on the second day of college, and like I was terrified because I didn't know anyone and I was going away with them and stuff. Like Harry and I didn't even know each other at that point or anything. Like I didn't know him.
I can feel a love story going on here, but
yes, I didn't even know Amy was in the school till about October.
We were literally we had a lesson together though. We had psychology together, but I just didn't. Yeah,
that's the first meeting spot. Oh, goodness!
No, he was just a weird kid that just wouldn't shut up in class.
Yeah, I feel like that was the biggest change for me, going from high school to college. Mm-hmm. Obviously, like you said, Ed, you sort of went from being maybe a bit childish in high school, like not really, like just doing whatever, to being a bit more serious and just settling down and focusing what you wanted to do in college. when for me, I don't know why, it was just a bit more of the opposite. Like in high school, I tried my best and I got good GCSE results for what I did. And then when I got to college, I was with like all the people in college were pretty much my mates. Like I was happy with like the people that were there, and I was comfortable around them, so I could just sort of be myself. And that's the thing I was trying to find throughout high school. Like I felt like there was some times in high school where I was quite low because I felt like I was never actually being myself. But when I got to college, I feel like you could express yourself a bit more, and like because no one cares at that point, and like you mentioned, no one really cares who anyone else is. So that's why I felt like I could sort of open my shell a bit and get out, and that's why I was a bit more of a talkative kid and laughing and a bit more bubbly. But I just felt like I could be comfortable around people.
Yeah, so that, I mean, that was like one of the reasons. How you kind of know all the reasons that I moved from like Tarpley to wherever I am now. It's like, I don't know, I just thought that I kind of just want to move place. I want a change of people because I was kind of sick and tired of like the people who are popular being the ones who kind of own the place and think they can just like chat loads of shit and like start fights with people for no reason. And I was there just like, they're going to be the ones who are childish and will fail at what they're doing. So then I just kind of went to college and it's like a fresh start. No one knows who you are. Like, you can technically just start fresh and you don't have, like, no one really cares about like what you've done in your past or whatever.
Exactly, yeah.
And then it just kind of like, there's a lot more independence as well with in college. Like, your teachers are kind of just like, they treat you more as mates. I don't know if it was the same as...
definitely in sixth form. I'm sure Amie can agree.
Like, they literally let you joke around and like do whatever, and they joke around with you as well. So it kind of just, I don't know, let me grow up a bit, and then it kind of like forced me to do a lot more with friends, to actually contact mates, because when in like high school, you wouldn't really like see your mates outside of school. Maybe like the odd one, but then in college, if I'm the only one there, I actually have to make an effort to speak to my friends, and then you kind of know who your best mates actually are, because one, they'll message you, and two, you'll message them more. Yeah. So it just kind of helped me out in that respect in a way. So it's kind of cool, I guess. So yeah.
Amie, what would you say is your sort of favourite thing about coming to England? Obviously, apart from meeting me and Ed, but
yeah, of course.
I don't know. I like being close to my family, obviously. But I don't know. I've loved the opportunities that I've had here because, like, even back in America, I didn't really know what I wanted to do when I was older. Like, I guess I plan on going to like an actual college, but I feel like A-levels have allowed me to get an idea of what I want to do. Like, I took media and photography, and I'm really into that. And now I'm like looking at apprenticeships to get into all that digital marketing and media and photography and stuff, which I really enjoy. And I don't think I would have like found that as quickly if I hadn't have had the opportunity to do this, like getting a camera and learning how to do Photoshop and stuff. Whereas in America, I would have been stuck doing boring subjects that, you know, I kind of wanted to be an actress at the start. Like, that's why I went to like an art school and stuff. But at the same time, I kind of just went to that school because I wanted to get out of the other schools. So I just went there. But yeah, I had no idea what I wanted to do. So I'm glad that I have a bit more of an idea.
Did you ever think while you were in America, I want to go to the UK to study? Or was it kind of just like not there until like your family were like, right, we're going to move?
Yeah, like I never thought we would really move back, to be honest. And then one day my parents just like sat down and they're just like, how would you feel like if we did move back? And I was like I'm down. Like I want to change and stuff. Like I didn't care. I had nothing. You know, I lived in the same town for like 14 years. I was sick of it. I wanted to make new friends and have new experiences. And I'm so grateful that I got to move here because there's so many places to explore and new things that I've got to like do and people I've met. And it's fun.
It's, I don't know, like, maybe that's just like me thinking, but if my family were to like sit down and be like, right, we're going to move country, like, are you down? I'd probably just be like, no.
Yeah.
I don't know if that's just because now I'm like quite older than before, like back in high school. If it was in like high school, I probably would have been like it doesn't really like impact me in a way, apart from like my friends or whatever. But then it's like now it's like, might not be like the best decision to make.
Yeah, I mean for Amie, because you moved schools quite a few times to different schools, so you were never really settled, and you also moved house quite a lot. You were never necessarily really settled anyway, like in one place. So, like, correct me if I'm wrong, but I feel like this was just sort of another change for you. But obviously, this was possibly a change for the best kind of thing. Like you mentioned before, you've now done things that you've wanted to learn, and you're on the sort of right path to what you want to do.
But I felt like, even though I moved like houses and stuff, it was still in the same kind of bubble. Like, you know, I lived right near Disney World, and that was everything I knew was in this little bubble. And I was kind of getting sick of it, like the same shops, the same thing on the weekend we do. I'd go to the same places with my friends. Like, I was like, oh, you know, I want new experiences. I want to see new places. So like moving here was just really great, because I mean, England was always my second home because we'd visit frequently enough to like see my family, but I only knew that bubble of where my family lived. I never really went out. Like, I never been to Tarpley and Cheshire area or anything. So coming here, like, and I never saw the countryside of like England, which is so beautiful, and I'm like really grateful to like live here and have this view and stuff. And yeah, it's just fun to look back on, rather than living in like a tourist town that I literally like grew up in, but that was all I knew. But yeah, it's been a good change, like moving here, to get out of that place and learn new stuff.
So it's like going back to like what you studied in school. So I know quite a few like American people who are really really good, like freakishly like good at like drawing and like visual editing. Is that something you learn, or is that something that they've probably just done in their spare time and got like really good at?
Yeah, that's probably something they've done. Like, we've done like art and stuff that you do in like elementary and middle school, but that's probably something they've done their own hobby. Like, I'm definitely not an artist at that stuff, I think.
They're just insane. I don't know like how they're so good, and it really vexes me, because I'm like, should I just move to the US and fucking learn how to do this shit?
What, you think you moved to the US and instantly you're an artist?
Instantly, yeah, I'm just insane. Yeah, pretty much. That's the plan.
Picasso, like.
Yeah, literally. Pretty much, yeah. Do you think if you obviously lived in America now, do you think you'd still make the same decision? Like, would you still be happy with like coming to the UK, like knowing the difference between the UK and the US? Do you think you'd be like?
So yeah, if you would have just graduated, because obviously you would have just graduated in May or whatever. Do you think after that you would have looked to go to college, or like university college for America, or would have you been happy to move here?
Yeah, see, I don't know. It's hard to think about that, because I think I moved at such a good time where I was able to start college here. Like, imagine if I'd have moved a year before and I would have gone into like year 11, like that would have been so different. But like, I honestly don't know, because I feel like I might have had a bit of a plan. I was only halfway through high school, so maybe the next 2 years of high school, if I'd have stayed, I would have found something, and it could have been completely different. Like, I could have gone with acting, because I probably would have stayed at that school, and then I might have gone to like a different college that goes more into drama and stuff. So
might have gone to Hollywood.
I don't know. Maybe.
So
Still can.
I really want to go to America, just because I just don't know. I just think it'd be fun.
When I went to America, I know it sounds so stupid, but it really is different. Like, obviously everyone is the same, like it's like English speaking and everything like that, but it's like when you go to like a Spanish town or something like that, you can tell like of like the culture of it. But you can, when you go to America, you can just tell it's so different. Like, the roads are so open, as in there's no like really.
Yeah.
Are the roads like dual carriageways like everywhere?
They're like highways, like like loads of lanes on either side. Well, it depends what road you're on.
Or even like a street, like we have space for cars parked, and then 2 cars can go down. Whereas like these country roads and stuff, like
country roads, struggling to fit one car down.
Literally, and like on the highways, there'll be like open like fields, like, or like really big grassy areas either side the highway. So it would feel really open, the roads. But obviously here we've got like the barriers, and then we've got trees either side of pretty much every road. So it feels a lot more enclosed. but like you can just tell when you're in America, it's like everything's so open, everything's huge, and obviously everyone says that everything's bigger in America, everything's bigger in Texas, kind of thing, but it literally is, and it's just it's quite a cool experience to go to. I don't know whether Florida was the best place to sort of get my first feel for America or not. I don't know where the best place would be, but it was definitely an interesting experience to go and explore that.
Yeah, because you have to remember, like, you can't specify one state as the same
as America. Yeah,
exactly, like everything is so different. In New York, you know, you wouldn't find the same things, but every like state is literally so different. Like people sometimes generalize like America's this thing, but honest to God, you'd think every state is like a different country. It can be like it's even the laws and like everything is just so different.
I mean, I feel like even you say that you wouldn't find any sort of road like you find the country roads around here. Like it's just so unique to the UK about how tight the roads are and everything like that. I don't know. Yeah, I don't know. It's just something I find interesting. But obviously, you've been to a lot of different states and just seen how different they are to each other.
Yeah.
So this is a huge myth, but I don't know if it's a myth. But is it true that every fast food place, the portions are massive?
They are bigger. Yeah.
I think I remember you saying actually, Harry, when you came back from America, saying that you kind of pay for the extra size of the food, like because obviously it's more expensive over in America than it is here.
Yeah.
So do you think you kind of like pay that extra money to have a bigger portion of food?
I mean, I guess, but when you're in America, you'll just be used to that price, so it's not like it's necessarily more expensive. It's just how it is, isn't it? Like you get used to having to pay. Like you look at your food, it says $1. You go to pay, it's $1.50 kind of thing, or $1.20 sort of thing. Like it's got that.
That is the best thing about England. No tax. Like the tax already added.
Do they add tax on when you come to payment?
Yeah.
Yeah, it's so annoying. So like you can go to the dollar store, right, and get one thing for $1, but it's not. It's $1 plus some cents. Like where I was from, the zip code, it was 7%, so it would be 107. But like, how annoying is that? You have a dollar bill and you have to get 7 cents out. It was so annoying.
That's already added on though, isn't it? Like on bills, like value added tax or whatever is already like put on. And obviously the tax pay people.
Or even like I'd save up for like a toy or something that was $50, but then you'd go buy it and it was like $54. You know, it's annoying.
And like especially when you're in a restaurant, you see all this food. You like food. Oh yeah, my meal's $10. Your meal's $12. Your meal's that. And then you come to pay, it's like $60. It's like what?
Yeah.
It's like when you only bought like $50 worth of food, kind of thing. It's just.
God, that'd be frustrating. I think I'd probably just. I don't know.
But like we mentioned before, it's just something that they get used to. Like I'm sure, like you mentioned, I didn't even know it's based on the zip code thing, the percent. But I'm sure you'd literally you'd be able to work out in your head by if you lived there most of your life. You'd be like, this is $10, so the tax is going to be 70 cents more, sort of thing. You know?
Or you just prepare for it as well. Like $10 bill and a $1 bill, you know you're going to use both.
Yeah.
So.
Yeah, I mean, I don't know. I get the option to like work abroad for a year, my third year at uni. I don't know. I was kind of thinking like, do I want to work from home or do I want to go to a country and work? In America, if I was gonna go and work somewhere, America would probably be like up there in the top countries that I'd want to go and work in.
Yeah, so just because obviously everyone's English speaking.
Yeah.
So it's a lot easier to do that, and I guess. The contacts in America, like America is such a massive place.
The businesses that are available in America is like ridiculous. Like,
and the amount of people in America, so everyone's gonna need something. It's like you're not gonna find one person who doesn't need a certain type of business. Like everyone's gonna need it in some way or another. Like someone's gonna want that sort of facility. So, but it's whether you go out there for a year and then you find that actually you work better over there and then you want to move over there. It's just you find your ground.
So it's like also because everything like compared to the UK, everything over there is more expensive. So everything over here is cheaper than the US. So does that mean the amount of money that I earn there, if I then change it into, I'll end up getting more back? If you know what I mean?
Yeah.
It's what the exchange rate is, isn't
Yeah,
it?
so it's like if I was to work in America and earn, I don't know, like $20,000 and then came back here to then exchange it, I'd get more in pounds than I would if I had worked in the UK.
I mean,
Depending on the job.
$20,000 to pounds is £15,700.
Right.
But then you look at like the houses in America, and they're like 200,000 for a house. Somewhere here, it's going to be like a house that's connected. Like, you know what I mean? So it is really sort of. But I feel like that's because the houses here are made out of all like brick and all that, and a lot of the houses in America are made out of like wood and beams and stuff like that. But that's just how they're built. But not to say that they're not nice, because they are all really nice and really fancy. But it's
So
just
are the houses bigger in America than they are here then?
Yeah, I'd probably say that.
Yeah,
definitely.
It's nice because I mean I obviously just came back from a walk. We drove past some massive houses that were like brand new, and actually like bloody hell, the amount of money you got to spend to get to them. Like houses are so expensive now. I think for like the size of the house, I don't know. It's kind of weird how it works because the house that obviously like I live in now, I could go and look for a same size house on like the market, and it could be so much more expensive than what I would get for the house that I live in now if I was to sell it, just because of how modern the houses are. So it's like, I don't know, I feel like you kind of pay for how modern the house is.
Yeah, no, I get what you mean. But it's that again, it's just working out, see what's more effective for yourself, like what you enjoy more. Like you said, you could earn more somewhere than you do somewhere else, but it's if you prefer working in the UK or working in the US, it's whatever, it's what you prefer at the end of the day, isn't it?
Yeah, definitely. But yeah, that's,
I mean, I just sort of worked it out. Well, I didn't work it out, but I just searched it up. And
I can see the cogs ticking in his head, just like searching stuff in.
It says that the average salary in the UK is £29,000 a year, average salary, yeah.
Right.
And the average salary in America is $31,099, which averages out at £24,413,
So on
which
average,
is quite interesting to look at that way. Yeah,
we earn more money on the like averagely.
but then that sort of makes sense that our houses and everything like that are more expensive when it comes to things like that. And I don't know if that's the reason why we are technically earning more or what. But I don't know. It's just interesting to look at, to see how it's all different between the two sort of massively different countries. Like on the surface of things, you wouldn't think, oh, America and England, both English-speaking countries. Sure, they are quite similar, but they're really not. Like from the education side to what we were talking before, growing up through high school is quite different from how we've described it. Just one of the things, like you mentioned, not having a police officer on site.
It's funny though, because I can't imagine having a police officer. Because there's nothing.
But they're friendly though. They're not like intimidating or anything.
Oh yeah, no,
like,
I know.
We were like friends. Yeah.
It's weird to think that like there's nothing in like our high school that we'd need a police officer for, or even him like being there. So I don't know. It's weird to think about. Yeah. In a way.
But then from what I was mentioning, that to growing up, to being able to, for being able to select what we want to do from 15 sort of thing, selecting some options, sort of divert us into a path, and then A levels where we can, which is the end of high school for Amie, and by that time in A levels we've already picked 3 subjects, or for you, a BTEC or even an apprenticeship that literally diverts you within sort of a margin of what you actually want to do in the future. But by that time for Amie, that she's graduated from high school and then she has to go to a college and pick a subject there, and she hasn't really had that sort of sense of like the diverted into one sort of choice. She has to pick from the the subjects that she all did through her high school life, which is, I'm sure, probably a bit more difficult for some students than it is for others.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah. I was going to say something, but it's completely like flown over my head. I'm not going to lie.
So that's just me waffling on. Happens a lot.
Oh, here you go. I got it. It's back to me. It's back. Do you find it annoying? So obviously when you move country, you have to like live in the country for a certain amount of time before you can like I think it's go to university.
Yeah.
Am I right?
Yeah.
Does that frustrate you in any way? Because like uni, quite a few people think like are saying uni is like it's so good to go to uni. Like they big up uni so much. Does it kind of frustrate you that like that option isn't open for you until you've been in the country for so long?
A little, yeah. Like I don't really get it, especially with my situation. If I'm a British citizen, but just because I haven't lived in the country for 3 consecutive years, I can't go to uni, which I guess kind of makes sense. But they're still making me like I had to do English and maths GCSE because you kind of need those to get somewhere. So it's like if you're gonna make me do that, at least you should give me that opportunity to go to uni. But I'm not even sure I want to go to uni, which is why I'm like looking at apprenticeships and stuff. But I definitely think it should be looked at differently because it's all confusing, and it's like, oh no, you haven't lived here for 3 years, you can't go to university, so then you have to like wait, and then you're kind of delayed with your age group and stuff, which I know some people take gap years anyways, but yeah.
I mean, and people go to uni at any age. You don't have to be.
You have like literally like mid-20s going to uni.
Yeah, I guess.
Like
I
you
mean,
have people going to
60-year-olds
college.
go uni. People have lived their life and want to learn something new, go back to uni.
Like you can even go back to college though. Like
Exactly, yeah.
I've had family members go back to college to learn like get a GCSE that they didn't get, or in something like that, just because it's like personal satisfaction, that sort of stuff. It's like maybe not necessarily for like a job, but just for like the satisfaction to be like, yeah, I actually got that. So it's kind of cool.
One thing that I sort of think about is that in America, I feel they don't really have apprenticeships. Like where you get paid while you also get an education. I feel like their sort of take on that is more internships, where it's like not paid work but volunteering.
It's like work experience
for a company. Pretty much work experience, but as if you're with a full-time job, and then if you're lucky enough, you might get a job by the end of it. But I feel like that's the closest, from what I've heard, to an apprenticeship in America.
Yeah, I feel like it's once you finish high school, it's kind of either go to college or get a full-time job, then see what happens. Like, yeah, you can't really, or get an internship, but then you're not getting paid, so then it can be tricky. But yeah.
Yeah, well, I think that's everything, Harry. Unless you've got another question or another topic, then that's me done.
I don't have anything in particular. Amy, if you want to
do you have anything
say anything to finish it off about your time in America and your time in the UK at all?
Just go visit if you want, but be careful, and Black Lives Matter.
Right, I rate that. That's a banging ending. Right, thanks for watching.
Let's hope not get a strike.
Yeah.
Oh,
See you in a bit. Let's hope.
Whoops.